On here.
Welcome back to the Blue Collar Minutemen, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you all are having a good weekend. Thank you all for joining us. As always, we are a few guys, blue-collar guys, who have come together to help make this country great again. And today we have a special guest joining with us today, Mr. Tony DePreto. He's back. Tony, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, Elton?
I'm doing pretty good. Glad to have you back on the podcast with us.
Glad to be back.
Good. So I guess we'll just jump right into it. I mean, kind of a broad topic to start with, but this China thing, what are we thinking about this?
Well, I mean, did you see where they're going now, saying that the Obama administration pumped in what $3.5 million into that lab in Wuhan?
In Wuhan?
Wuhan?
Yeah, Wuhan.
Yeah, he pumped all that money in there. Did you see that?
I did see an article on that.
Yep.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me. Of course, we knew, as great as everyone said Obama was, we knew that he'd been doing some shady crap. And it doesn't surprise me one bit that he's funneling money outside the U.S. rather than investing it here in our country.
Right.
The thing about that is it never was made public.
No.
Till recently.
Yeah, it's like, why would we be sending money to a Chinese research lab? Anybody know?
I've got a theory on it.
No, I have no clue.
What's your theory there, Tony? What's your theory, Tony?
Well, if you look at the history of China going back in the late 40s, they were wanting to expand. Their only problem was they had millions, and at that time, almost 1 billion people, and they needed more land. They couldn't even feed them back in the late 40s. And they actually run the nationalist army with Chiang Kai-shek out of China, took over Manchuria. Manchuria is no more. It's now China. And a few other little places. And most of the conservative, free-loving Chinese ended up on Quemoy, Matsu, and Taiwan.
That explains a lot.
Yeah. Their problem was world domination. They wanted to get into the world, and they knew without war, the only way they could do it was basically to start investing and slowly take over from within. But if you research viruses and flus, they've been doing this. The first one that I know of they released was the Asian flu in 1956, and it killed it killed between 1 and 4 million worldwide. We don't know because back then we wasn't really keeping all that great a record. But
right.
You know, you can look at what they've been sending out since '56, and it's kind of scary.
So what is whenever they came out with that, or a few years ago when we had that bird flu epidemic, that came from there, right?
Yep.
Right. What you had, like, 1956, you had the Asian flu. In, was it 2003, you had the avian flu, which is H5N1. You had it, or type A influenza, and it was out again in 2006. 2002, they had the SARS epidemic come out. 2012, you had the H7N9 flu come out. And now, here 2019, you've got the COVID-19. It's 2.8 million people worldwide have been affected. Basically, if they can dominate, and they're looking, in my opinion, something that can devastate countries, devastate their economic structure, just like they're doing right now. Our economic structure, had Trump had not gotten it to the point it was, we would have been on a third world country level of Africa right now. You
Right.
can say, God bless Trump for what he's done to the economy since he got in 2016.
Right. Bill, do you have something on that? I thought you.
No, that was a question that I had. But
Oh, go ahead.
no, that was it. He
Okay.
only answered what I was
Well,
wondering. He
of course,
usually
Tony. What's that?
said Tony usually does. He's very knowledgeable in that area.
Well, yeah, that's what we Tony and I were talking a little earlier. And Justin, I don't know if you know this or not, but while I've been looking up some stuff with China, you know, those guys are really smart. While we're over here arguing about what Trump's doing and how racist Trump is and how he's destroying everything, you know what the Chinese are actually doing? They are actually slowly taking over the world. And I say that because I have watched news feeds showing that China is slowly buying up Africa.
And they're buying up everything.
And what are we doing?
Still meats.
Yeah.
Wait, they're buying up Africa?
Yes.
Okay, let me ask you guys this. If they're buying up Africa, why are they trying to kick all the black people out of China?
Because apparently this COVID-19 is caused by Africans.
Dang, man.
But
Now they're blaming y'all.
yeah, I know we get the blame again, and it's funny because no black people over here seem like they even care. It's like, oh, they're kicking black people out of McDonald's in China. Nobody says a word. But yeah, they're slowly buying up Africa. And I watched a senator who was speaking, and I believe he might have been speaking from Mumbai or another country there. And he was telling them, he said, hey, he's like, listen, these Chinese are coming over here and they're slowly pushing us out. He said they're bringing over Chinese workers. They're not using our African workers who can do the same job, and they're buying up all of our land. He said, and once that happens, he said, then they'll have a legal right to our resources, and we won't be able to do nothing about it.
Did you say Mumbai?
I think it was Mumbai. I'm not sure if it was Mumbai or another nation there in Africa.
Mumbai's, well, I know Mumbai is that's a city in India.
Oh, well, my bad.
Or district.
But
I think I
do
know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name of it though.
Yeah, I can't. Those countries over there have weird names, man. I can't. But I will say this: they did mention Djibouti. That China is using Djibouti as a major military port.
But see, as far as I knew, that was a French. Wasn't that owned by the French, or did they give them their independence?
Djibouti is the last French colony.
That's what I thought. Right. So how can they do that under the French nose?
Well, they're using it as a port for their military.
Okay.
Where are we?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know we've had a presence there.
Djibouti is because it controls the Horn of Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
When you try to go into the Gulf there, you got to go. Djibouti sticks out there a little bit, and it's the narrowest part in the going through into the sea there.
Red Sea.
Yeah, that's the smallest port, and you control who goes in and out if you control Djibouti.
That's a good point. I never thought about that.
Well, you know,
been there, done that.
What was it? 20 years ago, they started into Italy, all the northern Italy. They went in and started buying companies in Italy. The Chinese are very intelligent. They go in and buy your biotech companies, your electronic companies, any type of company that is futuristic. They bought all these companies in northern Italy. They didn't employ the Italians in these companies. They brought their people in. They would fly them back and forth every week from China to Italy. They'd send them home on the weekend. They'd fly back Sunday night. And then they wondered why Italy was hit so bad. The Chinese government, when this got out of the lab there, and I'm sure it got out of the lab because you've just got too much of a coincidence. You've got wet markets, and these wet markets are nothing but cauldrons or boiling points for viruses, for the COVID type virus. Many of the animals they eat over there actually possess the COVID virus. It's not usually transmitted to humans. It's you have to pretty well tag something onto it to get it to mutate that way.
Mm-hmm.
But during this, they closed Wuhan. They closed it. No one was allowed to leave that city, but they did not stop the international flights leaving there to Italy, United States, and Europe. They let those go on for weeks, where they would not let anybody out of the city itself. I would say there's probably, if you really need ever find out the real statistics, there's probably 2 million or more dead in China. I would say. I'd say that's if you got, what they got, 4 billion people there, or 4.8 billion, something like that.
It's like a third of the world's population or something. I don't know, or a fourth, something like that.
Believe me, they could care less if 2 million people died. It's just population control.
And that brings me to
yeah.
No, that brings me to something else that I wonder about. Can we say that China falsified their report numbers as to how many people they actually affected?
Well, we can say that because they didn't even, when it started, they didn't even let anybody know. And we already knew they held back there.
Mm-hmm.
This thing was going on, they were losing people long before they come out and said, yeah, we got a problem.
Well, that's what I was thinking. And that's one of the things that Trump has been arguing too, is that, they're not reporting their correct numbers. And they were late on this. And of course, Trump's wanting to do something about it, I believe, as far as either fine them or give them tariffs or something. Tony, to answer your question, according to this, it says the population of China is 1.435 billion.
Yeah.
That was in 2019.
And that's a guesstimate.
Yeah, well, yeah, probably.
Well, they didn't, the Chinese have never, even going back into the 40s, they have never been upfront with any type of statistics. You go back to the number that actually died, their estimate is between 1 and 4 million were killed in 1956 by the Asian flu.
Mm-hmm.
That's just an estimate they had. But you're never going to actually get any true numbers out of it. The CIA right now is looking into the numbers, trying to find out. I don't think they'll ever find out. But when it first come out, there was people, doctors and things, saying this is an epidemic and we're losing people right and left. And then all of a sudden, those people are no longer any place to be seen. I'd say they're in the death camps, or they've been eliminated.
Right. Justin, did you have something? I thought you were going to say something earlier.
No, I was gonna, you answered the question actually.
Oh, well, something else, Tony, and the rest of you guys, y'all think Plantation Patty, AKA Nancy Pelosi, I'm calling her Plantation Patty. She was saying that the Chinese people in Chinatown, that was a safe place to be.
Yeah, I saw that. We don't want to hurt their commerce. Say everything's okay, but they're blaming Trump for for not taking care of business when he should have. Man, He did exactly what he needed to as soon as he found out. And even if there were mistakes, I mean, come on, nobody's ever been hit with something like this, where countries are shutting down their economy. But this woman is like, from the source, no, man, it's okay. Don't disrupt their economy. They're friendly people. Yeah, I'm sure they're friendly, but man, they came from an area carrying a plague, man.
But Chinatown's okay, according to Plantation Patty.
Yeah,
come on down to Chinatown with everything is okay.
I hope those California voters are smart enough to vote for that other woman. Whoever, I can't remember her name, but
I wonder if she got her ice cream there in Chinatown.
Ooh. Did you see that, Justin?
No, what?
Tell them about it, Bill.
Nancy did a TV spot where she's showing them around her house while she's on quarantine. showing her freezer full of $14 pints of ice cream all over the place. So, I mean,
Never mind the people starving and stuff right now. I mean,
Exactly.
got like tons of ice cream in there. $14
Ice cream.
expensive stuff.
Yep, that's right, Tony. There are memes going around with Pelosi going, let them eat ice cream.
Yeah.
Golly.
when was the last time she invited her gardener in for some ice cream?
She's old enough. She has seen the mumps epidemic that hit the United States, the typhoid epidemic, the different things that I've lived through. Most of the millennials have no idea, and that's why they went to spring break. They had no idea. They can't vision something that will kill you. I remember as a little kid walking down the street to my grandmother's and starting up and a big sign on the door, quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
And that was because one of my uncles had mumps, but we had chicken pox would kill you, smallpox,
Yeah, smallpox,
typhoid, tetanus, mumps. Mumps would kill a male. You could actually die from it. But they don't remember all this.
Yeah, I can't remember. Oh, what'd you have, Bill?
Let me ask you this. He mentioned spring break. What about, they're talking about the heat and the sun killing this stuff.
I'm sorry, the what?
The sunshine. They say that, well, you know how they say right now, you breathe it out, it floats around, it lives on these surfaces. Well, they're saying in hot weather, it doesn't live on the surface. You have to come in direct contact to get it.
I don't know for sure about that because
they're saying above 80-degree temperature kills it.
Above 80 degrees.
Mm-hmm. That's why they tell you when you've been out, drink hot liquids.
So I guess for all of those over in Kuwait right now, they're good to go.
Well, how come there's so many dying in Iran?
No, what I'm saying, Tony, you're missing my point here. What they're saying is, okay, right now I'm talking. If I've got corona, it's coming, it's getting on my keyboard, it's getting on this cup, it's getting everywhere. If it was 80 degrees and I was getting sunlight, it would kill that. If not, it stays there for 2 or 3 days. Right? You know where I'm going? Once I sit in the heat and the sun, you can still catch it, but you have to catch it by direct contact.
Right.
I'd have to run up and give you a big kiss there, Tony, or something like that.
Well, I'll tell you what.
But, you see what I'm saying? Do you think there's any truth to that?
Let's put it like this. I'm not going to come over there and play for your keyboard, even if you got it 90 degrees in your house.
Well,
I will say this, like from a medical standpoint, I mean, when you're outside, it's necessary for humans to go outside. I mean, being in direct sunlight, the reason why it feels so good, it increases vitamin D for you to create your own vitamin D. And with males, I mean, that helps with testosterone, that helps with a whole lot of things, and your immune system.
Right.
So, I mean, it helps overall, being outside, being active. I mean, that helps.
Right. I mean, even my wife, she's done and granted, I don't know all of it, but she's done a lot of research, not only being outside, taking direct sunlight, but actually not wearing your sunglasses and getting that sunlight in your actual vision helped you retain that. And also walking barefoot through your grass or your yard helps ground you. So yeah,
I've heard of grounding.
Yeah. So all of that actually has very good thing. I haven't done it. My wife does it all the time. She'll walk outside barefoot through the yard, but I haven't done it. But yeah, direct sunlight, like you were saying, is a big influence. Now, will it kill the virus? I don't think they really actually have a idea. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, with any virus, you need a host.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to have a host, and it has to have certain levels of temperature, dry, whatever, in order for it to live.
Right. So switching gears here a little bit, let's go and talk about my other favorite person, Mr. Dementia, Joe Biden.
Mr. Biden. That is one creepy, creepy man.
I got my decoder ring.
Talking about Uncle Sniffy.
My WTF is Joe Biden saying decoder ring. We'll have to figure it out.
Who do you all think he's going to get to run with him?
I don't think he's going to run.
He keeps pissing people off, and nobody going to run with him.
Now they have. You see all the Democrats that's calling for him to step down now?
No.
Yeah.
Jump out of the race because of those accusations. He's got a sexual assault accusation against him that is being investigated by the DC police. And it's coming now. They found, they went back and found on, what was that guy's name? It was one of the shows, Larry King. They actually talked about it right after it happened on Larry King's show. That she accused him of doing. And so there's a lot of prominent Democrats right now wanting him to drop out.
Tony, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I know he's creepy for many years. I mean, yeah, he's definitely got a problem, especially towards females and the younger females. I mean, you can say he's just overly affectionate. Well, I come from a family that as a huggers, and we're huggers, but I sure not going to go around sniffing young girls' hair.
Right? Thank you. I saw those videos, man. That dude's, I'm sorry, but I see him driving a white van with blacked out windows down neighborhood.
Well, I don't see him driving. He'd probably have Michelle.
Yeah, right.
Tony froze.
I'm scared to think about who he's going to get. Of course, he says he's going to get a female, minority female, but who would he get? I mean, they're pretty all, except for that, I can't remember her name now, that one he's been talking about. It's kind of scary because they're all.
He'll get Maxine Waters.
There you go. That is his perfect. Maxine Waters. You got it.
You mean you mean the bad person or the antagonist in the Dark Crystal?
Yes. I don't like
I'm
that
sorry.
lady.
All right. I shouldn't have said anything. Well, that woman. I mean, she was had some parts in the civil rights movement, and her and that other congressman that passed away. I think he passed away. I can't remember his name, but I respect them for what they did back then.
Patrick Cummings.
That's it. Isaac Cummings. Now, fast forward 30, 40 years later, I mean, we don't have that the problem to the extent that they think we do.
No,
I mean,
not at all.
I would see that. I would think that if Joe Biden's seriously trying to pick a running mate, that's who he would go for, is a minority female. Just to play that card.
Hillary, though, should have him killed within 30 days.
Right.
Here's the article I was talking about. It's got new evidence surfaces in the Tara Reid allegations against Biden. It's a 1993 video surfaced that shows the mother of Tara Reid and former aide Joe Biden, who accused him of sexual assault. He kind of got swept under the rug back then. He was now it says prominent Democrats are picking up on it, and they're sending out calls to for Joe to step down.
Well, then who do you put in place of Joe?
Bernie.
Bernie.
The Democrats don't even like Bernie.
Yeah, he never had a fighting chance.
They'll put Hillary or Michelle in there.
Oh, I've heard that. I've heard rumors that Michelle was talking about running for one of these things, maybe vice president. Who knows?
Well, we still don't want that. I mean, we've been through that with
There's a
Obama.
lot of dirt there. It's going to become
Put it this
up
way,
out of the sewer if that happens.
whoever he
Yeah.
chooses, whoever he picks is going to probably be president. If he gets elected, his vice president will end up finishing out his term because he'll not be able to do it.
No.
He can't. I mean,
Personally, I think he's going to get lost somewhere in the White House, and I'll never see him again.
You'll find him down in the sniffer room.
Yeah, right.
did you all also see where headline came out that the UAW is supporting Joe Biden?
I saw an article. You sent that article.
The unions, of course.
The two staff guys will probably go vote for Biden, but the workers themselves.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing I'm bringing up. Are we forgetting that basically Biden cussed out an auto worker, told him he was full of shit?
Yeah, a dog-faced pony soldier.
Okay, you got to look at those unions. I mean, they'll tell you if you're going to be in the union, you're going to have to vote Democrat, but they never do.
No,
And it's just that they have ponchos up there in the top, endorsed them.
yeah.
Yeah. Most union leaders are inherently socialist anyway.
Speaking of,
I could see that, yeah.
did you get that thing I sent you about Jimmy Hoffa? They found Jimmy Hoffa and they marked up his death, the coronavirus.
That's funny. I like that.
Sadly, there's an article about a lot of the deaths in the hospitals. The directors and administrators of hospitals are actually taking a lot of deaths and contributing them to coronavirus when they're not, just
Yeah.
to get government money.
Well, they get what, $30,000 for each corona death?
Something like that, yes.
And that was a point I was going to bring up. I mean, that is coming out more and more now, just about everywhere, is that
revising our numbers.
Right. If you're in a car accident and you die because of head injury, but you have corona and you've been tested and you test positive for corona, they're chalking it up, that death, as a coronavirus death.
Yeah.
That's why my whole belief in this whole thing that they're doing is way, way over exaggerated, and they need to open the United States back up and let us people get to work, because they're blowing the numbers way out of proportion. And just like anybody else said, it's all to take down one man, and that's Trump.
Yeah, because he's shaking that tree. He's draining that swamp. He's doing what he can. He ain't playing. And with a man like him, they think he's going to knuckle under. Man, men like that, they bite. Let me put it in a fighter analogy. They'll bite down on their mouthpiece and fight back.
He's proven that. I mean, it's like everything they can think of, they've thrown at this guy. And normally, against a Republican, it works. Normally, they would already have caved. But they can't figure this guy out because he seems to fuel off of the stuff they throw at him.
Yeah, he does.
I mean,
the more aggression, the more insults, the more everything they come at him with everything. He's like, yeah, bring it.
It's like,
I'm going to make you look stupid.
It's like,
start injecting disinfectant.
Let's go shoot up some Lysol. I mean, where did they get that at? Where did they
He made a sarcastic joke.
I saw the whole. I didn't leave there thinking, well, I better go home and, dip a Lysol wipe or something,
Yeah, that was completely taken out of context, like they do everything else when a conservative or Republican or even libertarian say anything halfway intelligent. It's like, oh, well, he said this. Man, same thing, AOC, when I brought that up 2 episodes ago, when it is literally a joke. It is impossible for somebody to pull them up by their bootstraps. If you don't understand the difference between metaphorical and literal thinking, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
I'll give you a prime example of this. I watched his briefing the other day when he was talking about the post office and Amazon and the other packaging companies wanting to increase 3 to 4 times the cost of shipping a package. Well, we're going to need to get them to go ahead. They're not charging enough. They need to increase their package shipping price 3 to 4 times. But he said, I do not mean to the American people, just to the companies. If not a person that ships a package increase, but a company that ships millions of packages a week to have an increase. An hour and a half later,
He wants to.
ABC is on and says Trump wants to increase your mailing at the post office 4 times over what it cost is now. A blatant lie. They sat and took it out of context. ABC lied about it.
They do it all the time. I mean, everything. He's like the guy says, if Trump got on the podium and said, drink more water, it'd be on CNN that night. Trump wants everyone to drown themselves.
Yep.
Well, you know where he got the deal about the injecting disinfect, don't you? There's a company called Biotechnologies. They have it, and they're dealing in nanotechnology. They've already injecting a type of cleanser into the blood in cancer patients, and it only affects the cancer antigens put out by the cancer, and that's where they come from. It's being used on certain type of cancer patients and having outstanding results. And it's basically a type of disinfect. I can't, tell you what kind it is. I didn't research it at great detail, but nanotechnology, I can say, is a thing of the future. Of course, the Chinese, we won't have it because they're stealing all of our technology as fast as we can come up with it. And Common Core is dumbing down all of our young school kids. So we're going to be with the third world countries. EU countries are already, their students are 20 years ahead of us in math.
Yeah.
And you had to see the YouTube video. The teacher doing the Common Core math, guy over here doing the multiplication. She's over here drawing big square on the board, putting numbers all around it. He puts 35 times 12, and what comes up with the figure, goes orders a pizza and eats it, and she's still over here trying to teach the students how to do the damn thing.
Oh, I mean, that's how you get an empire. You start in and you corrupt and dumb down their youth, and when those idiots become older, they can really do the damage.
I mean, people need to wake up. I mean, I was just telling my wife earlier, I said, here we are in America. We're worried about, Trump's oppressing me, and Trump's going to destroy the world, and my feelings are hurt, and I don't have a safe space. While we're over here doing that crap, China is over here like buying countries, man.
Mm-hmm.
And before we know it, we'll be surrounded. And here we are sitting here, and then everybody's going, well, what happened? Like, why are they doing this to us? Why didn't Trump stop them?
Yeah, right.
I mean,
I've only been hearing things that let's get people back to work. Let's take care of what American business, take care of American children. Let's do this.
Yeah.
I don't understand why people have such a hard time with that concept.
I know. Moving on to something else. Did you all see Rand Paul's speech that he did?
Come on.
I saw part of it. I didn't get to finish all of it.
I didn't get to see it all either.
Bill's coming back. But if you look up Rand Paul's speech, of course, Rand Paul had coronavirus.
Yeah.
He went and he's recovered from it. And the speech he did was after his recovery. And I can't remember the entire speech, but it was about getting America, open it back up, letting people get back to work. Because essentially, All the Democrats want to do is tell you to stay at home and, hey, let's give out money, money, money. And you can't do that because, one, the United States isn't prepared for it. Two, it'll destroy your economy. I mean, it's done.
Yeah.
And three, the recovery time for it wouldn't happen, or it would take so long to recover from it. You know, too many people will be homeless and out of work. And I think,
why do you
go
think
ahead, Tom.
Democrats push so much on the amount of unemployment, the dollar amount on unemployment?
I just saw
philosophy. I was a Democrat for 35 years. Everybody knows that. I finally come to my senses, come out of I got the head out of my butt, and I got, saw the light. But the Democrat philosophy, and I know it from being a Democrat for 35 years, was that the way we get voters, you take and you get them where they're dependent on you. You give them everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that is mind control. That's control. Look what they've done to the minorities all over.
I completely agree there.
And I'm reading a headline. I'm reading a headline right now that says Biden demands government spends hell of a lot more than $2 trillion in bailouts. Why are we bailing out that many people anyway? Just open everything back up.
Open it up, go to work. All right, Elgin.
Yes.
How many days have you missed work for the coronavirus?
I haven't missed any. I'm still working.
Me too. What I'm trying to figure out is if it's that contagious, why isn't all these essential workers just hauling out in truckloads? Because they should all be dead by now.
Especially me, I'm an old fart.
That's all I work every day.
Yeah.
I mean, Walmart's always packed. Lowe's is always packed. Why can't you do the same thing at Sears? Why can't you do the same thing at Penny's, Belk's, or other places? Why not?
I will say this, and I did look at an article on this, and the guy made a good point. But this is a blanket effect type thing. You know, you think about New York City where they have millions of people crammed in. They're right on top of each other.
Right. Well, I understand that.
Yeah, and I understand it too. But that doesn't have the same effect in North Dakota, in South Dakota, in Arkansas, in Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi. You're not looking at the same area. So why is it that those states have to follow suit just because New York is on top of each other? Right.
Another thing is, I don't see how the government can pick its winners, so to speak. Lowe's and Walmart are coming out of this making a fortune.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But on the other side, Belk's, Penny's, the other box stores, they're going to go bankrupt.
Correct.
How do you choose? And they say, okay, we're opening up Walmart because they sell groceries. You go to any part of the day, and I'll bet you over 50% of the people in there are not buying groceries.
No.
No.
So
let me ask you a question, Bill. That brings up this point. Walmart's open, that's essential. But if you look at most of your doctors, all your elective surgeries have been canceled. You can't go to church, but yet the mosques are open. Why are the mosques open?
That's another good point.
How come abortion is essential? I can't go get my shoulder worked on or I had to put off all this. But still, they can kill. Well, actually, if you look at it, you've got more babies killed in Louisville at the abortion center than you have deaths from coronavirus.
Actually, the thing that is, I was looking at an article this morning. there's hospitals that's going to have to close down. I mean, they're actually going to never probably open again
Right.
because you have no corona patients. Plus, they're not doing any surgeries. They're not doing anything else. We're going to lose a bunch of hospitals.
Right. People, you got to understand, we can't keep going like this. I said it once, I'll say it again. Open everything back up. The only thing people need to do, continue to wash your hands. I mean, continue to be healthy, you know, and just take a little extra precaution. Use a little extra alcohol gel.
Wear your mask if you feel like it.
If you want to, wear your mask.
Oh yeah. On that note, masks thing. If you are wearing your mask by yourself in your own car, you're doing nothing. Nothing. Now, wearing gloves in public. If you wear the same gloves to one store, to another, to go get your coffee, to everything, you are doing nothing. All you're doing is keeping it from you. You ain't keeping it from anyone else. And I still see these people wearing these masks and their gloves, touching their face and doing all this other shit.
Did you see where the lady passed out? Driving her car with the mask was on, she couldn't breathe? Crashed her car?
No, I didn't.
It was on the news. She passed out because she wasn't getting enough oxygen because she had her mask on too tight. And she was driving down the crash.
You know,
Oh, gosh.
I have to.
What kind of mask did she use? Plastic?
That's like a Darth Vader mask or something. I don't.
What'd you have, Tony?
This mask deal, it's pathetic, and I feel sorry for so many people. I went in a certain place the other day, and there's two women in there, and one had the mask on, and it come up just below her nose. The other one had her mask on, and I could stick two fingers down each side of the nose. You all know who I work for part-time. We won't say it here. I have to, every year, be fit tested for an N95. It takes an hour to get fit tested. I get the mask on, then I have this big hood put over my head, and they're shooting the stuff in this hole size of a quarter. And I have to go through all this silly ritual, turn my head, jump up, do jumping jacks, talk and everything. And if you're going to tell people to wear a mask, for heaven's sake, please teach them how to don and doff the PPE. I mean, if it's a mask, gloves. I watch people come out of Walmart, take glove, pull it off with this gloved hand, then take a bare hand and pull the others off. Show these people.
Exactly.
You're giving them a false sense of security, and they're actually going over and grabbing something else with that bare hand that's contaminated.
And then throwing those gloves on the ground. If you've driven through Lowe's or Walmart lately, you'll see gloves laying everywhere. They come out of the store.
Oh, man.
You throw them on the ground.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, not to say that those gloves and the masks don't have their purpose. I mean, if I'm standing in a crowded room, yeah, man, put your mask on. You don't want to touch anybody? Don't touch them. Stay away from it. But good God, I see these. I'm sorry, but I'm seeing crackheads walking around outside by themselves on a road, on a highway, wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell are you doing, man? There's the reason why there's instructions on shampoo bottles.
They're basically protecting the inside of their car.
We've got a couple questions.
Oh, go ahead.
Viewers have sent in. We're right about 40 minutes right now.
Okay. Yeah, hit those questions real quick, and then I'll ask
a couple questions we'd like to throw out here. Bob Rumke, one of our viewers, wanted to know if it was possible for the U.S. to seize Chinese interests here in the United States to pay for the coronavirus bills that we're going to have. Can anybody speak to that?
I have no idea how international law works, and I won't pretend to know, but I will say, just coming from an outside objective thinking point of view, can you make companies like Toyota that's have places here in the U.S. Can you make them responsible for what their government did?
No, I don't think you can. And
Right.
that's how they get away with it. The difference is when we see the Iranian funds
Mm-hmm.
belong to the Iranian government. These people, when they come over here, and you know a lot of it's going back to the Chinese government, but each of these companies have been bought by individuals, not by a state.
Right.
So you can't hold an individual responsible for what the state does.
Right.
Brings up an interesting point. If the Chinese closed the city of Wuhan, no one could travel outside of the city of Wuhan, but they allowed them to travel to the United States and Europe. That basically says we know there's a problem, but it's all right. You can't come in our country, but you can go to other countries.
Right.
There's been points where they have. The government has seized assets of other companies for years. You got to meet a certain criteria. What that is, I don't know.
Right.
What I was able to find was they would have to have been engaged in terrorism or an illegal activity,
Mm-hmm.
and for an individual. Now the state, like I said, you can't really tie like Toyota to China. You can't,
Yeah.
you know, so that would be very, very different.
That's like trying to point the blame at somebody, not really just somebody, but a nationality or or country.
Right.
You know, you just can't. It just doesn't make any sense.
I mean,
If the government,
if we could.
Yeah.
if the Chinese government basically had, if they own a company here in the United States or Europe, I believe it's not owned by Toyota, but by the government itself.
Not Chinese, but anyway.
Yeah.
Of course,
Using that
Toyota
example.
is Chinese. But
An example, you know, like what we're getting at, the Chinese government doesn't actually own any of these companies.
Mm-hmm.
They're owned by individuals and individual companies. We know they have ties to the Chinese government, but there and again, you got to prove all that.
Right. And then that's the thing. Proof is in the pudding, so to
Right.
speak.
well, they also have to prove that they don't own it and it is owned by an individual.
Right. What was the other question
The
there?
other question is, are you willing to open everything up and get out there and go back to work with the risk of catching this virus and bringing it home to your family?
Well, I'm already doing it.
You and I, and you know, we're already doing it.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that, Justin?
I lost you guys, your audio for a second. What was it?
It was, are you willing to open everything back up, go out there and risk bringing the disease home to your loved ones?
I think that the people that, like I said last week, the people that should be quarantined are the ones that are susceptible,
Right.
not everyone. It's kind of like killing your patient to cure the disease. I just don't understand that. But, I mean, I'm ready to go back because really, we've got to do something to get the economy back. I mean, we were seeing changes that, as far as I'm concerned, Trump's been making good on his economic plan. We were starting to thrive, making countries pay for their own shit and forcing them in certain trade deals to hold up their end of the bargain. So we need to get that back, and the only way to do that is put people back to work and let them figure shit out for themselves.
I agree.
And I think that's one of the things too, is that's one of the things that everyone has been preaching. And even myself, you know, let everyone get back to work. And Trump is wanting to do that. But what we have to be weary of is what these state governors are going to want to try and do. I mean, we've already seen it with some states. Idaho, for example, because I just read this. They arrested a woman because, you know, she was in a park and arrested her in front of her kids. Well, it wasn't anything Trump said. It was what the governor was imposing. And I think they have a valid thing. I think what the best thing needs to do is open everything up. And my wife brought this up. This was her idea. I give credit to my wife. This was her idea. Open everything up, then tell the employees, look, we're going to open back up. We're not going to fire you, but we're going to give you the option, if you want to stay home extra days, to do that. And if you want to come to work, you have the option of wearing PPE to be here and work.
Yeah.
I agree with
Go ahead.
But I mean, I think that would be the best thing. We can't hurt our economy anymore. We're not going to survive as a country.
you.
And
No.
I've said this before. And a lot of people will back me up. There were people who were sick during Thanksgiving 2019 and Christmas 2019 that literally have told me, I have spoke to them. They said, man, I felt like complete death. He said, if I was close to death, he said that was it. And we didn't have a reason or understanding.
The antibody test they've been doing regularly. Have you seen that?
Yes.
It shows that this stuff has been here for a long time.
Right. And even an article, I just saw another article. They're expecting numbers. Here it is right here. I'm reading it right now, and I'm reading from newsmax.com. Birix, they're expecting the virus toll to plunge dramatically by the end of May.
Mhm.
Right. Well, you've got to open the country back up, and there's several things that you have to take into consideration. The elderly should go ahead and wear a mask. You know, it's your choice, your prerogative. They should wear the mask. And then you have to look at the fact that just the regular H5N1 flu that come out, what did it kill? 18,000 people in the United States. Regular flu season, they don't tell you that. Just our regular flu season kills, 18 to 30,000 a year.
Yeah, that's right.
Wash your hands, wear gloves. Do so. You don't have to go up and get in everybody's face. Those that want to work from home can work from home. There's nothing says they can't really, but we've got to get it opened up, and it's got to be opened up fast. But use common sense.
And one more thing to go with that, and people don't think about it. Everybody's mad about the police doing all this and that, but you leave this economy down too long, you're going to have a lot of 5-finger discounts coming. You better be locking up stuff on your porch. Your cars will be broken into, and then you're calling for the police, and you're wondering why these people robbing and thieving. Well, they're not working.
Elgin, the report just come out today. Commercial robberies and break-ins have increased 122% this month.
Cause and effect.
That's right.
So I know we're getting short on time. I want to say a couple of things real quick, just let you all touch on this briefly. Georgia Representative Vernon Jones, everybody hear about him?
Yeah.
I love it.
He left the plantation.
Yep, hashtag coming off the plantation. Vernon Jones, who is was a black Democratic representative in Georgia's House of Representatives, has now decided he's supporting Donald Trump. So he's with a lot more coming off the plantation.
Wasn't there a female done the same thing, and she's been censured by the Democratic Party?
She's been censured by the Democratic Party.
Vernon Jones even said that the majority of his threats he's getting from the Democratic Party.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, says a lot, right?
His own party's threatening him. They're wanting to censor him.
Didn't you have a hashtag you was going to put out with that?
Oh, well, it's actually something. Last time I mentioned course, it was Corey Feldman's movie that he was promoting, the Rape of the Two Coreys, which I never got to see it. They had technical difficulties. I hope that somewhere along the way I can see this. But there's another one that I want to throw out there, and it's called UncleTom.com. Go to it, check it out. It is not what you think. It's called UncleTom.com, and it's going to have in it, it's like a documentary. It's going to have Candace Owens will be in it. Brandon Tatum, which he's a YouTuber, will be in it. It'll have several conservative Republicans in this documentary, and they will be discussing the change of the nation, why they are the way they are, conservative. And I believe they'll also touch on a lot of black folks who are finally coming off the plantation. So check it out when it comes out. It's at UncleTom.com. Should be coming out within the next month or so. Should be something worth watching.
That other representative was from the Detroit South Side, and she come out and complained about the governor of Michigan not helping the minorities in Detroit, and that she was for Trump. He had done more than the governor in Michigan, and she's the one that the Democrat Party censored.
Yeah.
Bill, you want to get the last word?
I just wanted to let everybody know that we made the jump to YouTube. We're on Facebook. If you see our video on YouTube, or you can go to Facebook and see all our other posts and everything. Excuse me, Corona. But I want to thank everybody for joining us, and I think we're getting this down here, figured out how to do the social distancing thing here, still have a show. I'd like to thank you all for participating, and like I said, join us on Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube now.
I appreciate you letting this old guy come back in. You know, us old people, we ain't been around that long. We don't know that much.
Always a pleasure, Tony. Always a pleasure.
Glad to have you. We'll have some other guests on later on as well. Also, our email address, if you want to email us, it's at blue, which is spelled BLU, collarminutemen@gmail.com. Email us.
Justin?
Well, I've got nothing. You guys pretty much covered it all.
All
All
right.
right, guys.
Thank
Thank you, guys.
Justin, Tony. See ya.
Yeah. Take it easy.